Um, this section here, I'm actually gonna put this down and timestamp this and pull this out as a video. So, for those of you who don't understand the implications of the recent Nintendo patents, let's take a look at this. This is 58 minutes in. So this right here is a traversal system, which we have seen in many, many, many different types of games, right? We're playing Ghost of Yotei right now. But this traversal system shows up in all sorts of different exploration-based games. But this is a game mechanic. And this traversal system is not something that is unique to any given platform. We see it in Xbox games, we see it in PlayStation games, we see it in PC games. You see it in 2D scroller games, you see it in 3D games like this. The reason the recent patent stuff that Nintendo has been doing is so diabolical and why it has so many gamers up in arms as well as game companies is because this right here is something that is not. It's like there are many, many games that use it. But if you could imagine for a moment that Nintendo patents this system and says that we alone have the right to use this traversal system, that means that any other game that ever wants to put a traversal system in their game has to be willing to go to court with Nintendo and fight $100 million lawsuit to be able to have this in their game. Because if they put this into their game without Nintendo's permission, they will then be taken to court, and Nintendo will sue them into the ground and block the game from being made. And that is the ridiculousness of Nintendo patenting an animal summoning system. It's also like Nintendo is claiming we're the first ones to invent this. Imagine if Nintendo tried to patent that traversal system after we have seen this traversal system in 500 other games over the last decades. And suddenly Nintendo comes along and patents that system and says, no, we're the ones who created it. It's ours. No one else is allowed to use this ever. That's essentially what Nintendo has done with patenting the animal summoning system. They are saying that we are the only ones who have ever had an animal summoning system. There's no other animal summoning systems that have come before. No, those weren't animal summoning systems, but ours is. And anything that comes after us has to not use this or be in fear of being sued. So any iteration that might have been done before, because if this is an open system, this is the traversal system and it's open, that means many game companies are going to riff off of this and they are going to do different versions of this with different types of climbing tools. Jedi Survivor, as an example, Jedi Fallen Order had a system where it was a traversal system, but they also had different types of materials that would be on the walls, and some of the materials required you to have like claws to climb up. That's an iteration on the climbing system, but that's no longer allowed. If someone owns the patent to this, you would never be allowed to even iterate on that system for fear of being taken to court because you put a traversal system in your game. So it's really stupid what Nintendo did with the patents on animal summoning because we have seen animal summoning in so many other games before. It was not unique to Pokemon. Um, it's what it really comes down to is Pal World and that system threatening Nintendo to the point where they're like, oh no, we're gonna lock it all down, we're gonna patent it. No one's ever gonna be able to do that ever again, and we're gonna save billions of dollars in laughing maniacally in corporate greed. So no, Nintendo, your patent system sucks for everybody, and that's hopefully a quick explanation for people who may or may not have needed it. I don't know. I saw that and it just sparked me to want to talk about that really quick. Like EverQuest 2, which is a really old game, has an animal summoning system. Like, I can summon a pet. Lord of the Rings Online has an animal summoning. I can summon a pet. I can summon. So here's an example. The Lore Master in Lord of the Rings Online can summon pets to come help them. Bears, cats, eagles, ravens, bog stalkers, bog walkers, all of these different types of animals. Lord of the Rings Online has those in the game. The lore master can summon those animals to them to help them fight. On top of which, you can summon cosmetic pets like dogs and goats and pigs and stuff. Pretty much every MMORPG out there has some form of a animal summoning class, which will summon, like the hunter can summon in World of Warcraft. The hunter can summon animals to fight at their side. Um, Final Fantasy XIV has it. Guild Wars 2 has it. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars: The Republic has droids, not animals. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is like there are so many games that use an animal summoning mechanic of some type. That will no longer be able to be done by any game moving forward for fear of being sued by Nintendo over this patent. Now, they can't go back and retroactively do it against all those games that I just mentioned, but they can absolutely do it against any games moving forward in the future. And that is bad for the gaming industry because it means there's no longer going to be any innovation in that arena. It's just no one's ever going to riff off of that. No one's ever going to make something cooler or something better because no one's ever going to want to evolve that system because Nintendo has it locked down with a patent. So bad for gaming. That's right, Transcend. We have a monopoly on a concept that no one else can do. Um, Now, a different type of thing would be another example of that was the Nemesis system that never got used beyond the Shadows of Mordor, Shadows of War games. The Nemesis system that I forget who was that Warner Brothers who patented that. Um, that's another system that just basically locked down a concept and said no one else is ever allowed to iterate on this, and that's like, I don't know. I just don't think that things like that. It's just not good for innovation. And that just comes down to people being super greedy about their ideas. And I just don't get it because ideas are cheap. It's the implementation that's easy and hard at the same time. What I meant to say was ideas are easy, implementation is hard. Um, it's you can have any monkey can have an idea, and we've talked about it before. Just like if 500 people line up and throw shit at a wall, for 499 people, it's just going to be a piece of shit that they lobbed at the wall. But that 500th person is going to figure out a way to make that piece of shit into a piece of art or a renewable energy source or some type of paper or something that can be used to benefit the people around them, and they become the innovator. Like, it's the implementation of things, not the ideas themselves. Anyway, now I'm rambling. I need to shut up and get back to the game.